Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're talking about the trailer for episode 8 of Star Trek Picard season 2, and we're talking about the sneak peek scene for this episode coming up next week. I'm still on vacation, as you can see, but trying to churn out some content from the hotel room to keep things rolling along while I'm away. So we're going to get right into the trailer first up, then look at that shot by shot, see what we can learn about next week's episode, and then after that we'll take a look at the sneak peek scene. So let's get into it.
Question 1. Are you an extraterrestrial life form?
Who the hell are you?
A friend waiting for you to arrive at this very moment.
I know a haunted man when I see one. The things we hold on to, the pieces of emotional shrapnel that drive us all our lives.
If we can't contain Girardi, are we going to have to kill her?
Agnes, stop!
So in our first photo here, we see Picard and Guinan talking to our FBI agent, whose name I believe is Agent Wells, not Duquesne. So I wonder whether this is a misdirect or whether this actor is in fact playing a completely different character. Next we see Corey wearing these weird goggles which seem to show Q, but the representation of Q seems to be some form of weird code that the goggles don't recognise. So I'm guessing these goggles are something that Dr. Sung's invented that aid him in scanning or doing diagnostics on the various clones or, augments that he's creating here in his lab. We get a close-up shot of Q through the goggles. I wonder why he's moved on from Rene Picard and now is working on Corey Sung. Picard and Agent Wells talking around the table there in the evidence room. I really hope Agent Wells does turn out to be Agent Duquesne from that Voyager Relativity episode, because I think if he didn't, it would be very disappointing. Why would you cast an actor whose character had been in Star Trek before and had a direct connection to patrolling and policing changes in the timeline, which links so correctly with Star Trek Picard if you weren't going to use him as that character? Got a shot of Q here looking quite perplexed, a little bit defeated, and a little bit more fragile than he would normally appear. Corey Sung and Dr. Sung there in the background. We didn't kind of get a resolution a couple of weeks ago in terms of her finding out about her origins in the lab, so I'm guessing we're going to get that explanation in this week's episode. Got a couple of Vulcans here. Looks like they're doing some scientific experiments on Earth, and they've been inadvertently sprung by the childhood version of Agent Wells. I wonder whether these guys are just a couple of random Vulcans or whether they have any connection to Mistral, the Vulcan who stayed on Earth back when we saw that Carbon Creek episode of Star Trek Enterprise, which took place in the 1960s, I think it was. Agent Wells here, but this time as a boy, obviously observing the Vulcans doing something they shouldn't necessarily be doing and looking quite shocked about it. Agent Wells, present day, this time in the evidence room interviewing Picard, obviously telling him the story about what he experienced as a child. Agent Wells looking quite flabbergasted here in his conversation with Picard. Agnes's finger here, clearly infected by Borg nanoprobes, and a shot of her face here, pretty much exhibiting the same traits. Now, this shot of Agnes running across the roofs of cars is clearly a stunt woman that looks absolutely nothing like Alison Pill. She's quite tall and slim, and if we look at Alison Pill here in the next shot, she's quite short and a much different build and height. It's chalk and cheese between these two. I couldn't believe they couldn't have got a more accurate resembling stunt person for this shot. And it looks like Raffi might have to make a tough call here and to use her phaser on Agnes to put her down. Hopefully she's just got the phaser set to stun as opposed to kill, because it looks like the Borg Queen, aka Agnes here, is definitely on a mission to take Raffi and Seven out. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the sneak peek scene for next week's episode, up to episode 8. So we're really getting along there in episodes. We're getting close to the end of the season now, so it'll be very interesting to see where we're headed in the show. So let's take a look at the sneak peek scene, and then we'll pause in certain moments throughout and analyse what we might be up for in next week's episode of Star Trek Picard.
Believe me, we would be thrilled to see the rocket safely launched tomorrow.
Uh-huh. I got a lady friend with a city. Shoots me an email anytime something odd pops up on the CCTV. Like when someone shimmers into existence on a downtown street.
Of course, Agent Wells is referring to the moment we saw at the end of the last episode where he's basically sprung Picard beaming in to Guinan's bar. Based on the amount of surveillance footage he's got, intel and information he's got on the goings-on of Picard and crew, if this guy turns out not to be Duquesne, I'll be very surprised and very disappointed.
Drop your image into our database, and boom! One of 6 known trespassers at the Europa Gala. To put this all together, I think, why would aliens crash a gala for a space mission?
One piece of dialogue that has me believing that unfortunately this guy probably isn't Duquesne is the fact that he uses the term aliens. I think if it was, I don't think he would probably use that expression. So unfortunately it's seeming more and more likely that we probably are going to get disappointed in the sense that this actor isn't reprising his Voyager role.
You don't seem like the kind of guy they send in to break terrorists. Not getting FBI's top interrogator vibes. Something else put you in that chair? Tell me, Agent Wells. What makes you the man for this job?
I'm really enjoying this actress's performance of Guinan in this sneak peek scene here. I think that she's certainly portraying Guinan a little bit closer to what we remember Whoopi Goldberg's performance to be. I didn't like her performance at all the first time we were exposed to this character a few episodes back in Picard, but I certainly think in these scenes we're seeing now that her performance is certainly a lot more similar to of Whoopi Goldberg's portrayal of Guinan that we know so well from Next Generation.
Think of me as just a good old-fashioned dedicated civil servant.
Work a lot, don't sleep, comes in all wrinkled with your huge mug of coffee. I'm a bartender. I've seen your kind before. This is personal.
Guys, I'm really looking forward to next week's episode. It should be really interesting. I think I'm most interested in the fact as to whether or not our FBI agent is in fact Duquesne or not. I'm kind of got my doubts, probably he's not, which is going to be a bit of a letdown, I think. I mean, it's like, why would you bring an actor who had a prominent role in a Star Trek episode into this new episode, which is all about time travel, if you weren't going to make him the same character? I think, I think that will leave a lot of people disappointed if he just turns out, oh, we just used the same actor. It's like, well, what are you doing that for? Like, you can't. If he was playing an alien or something, fair enough. But I think it's a kind of a similar kind of character, similar kind of role. And I'm concerned that our expectations might be disappointed, but we shall soon see. Guys, as always, please don't forget to leave a super thanks if you're able to. It really helps the channel out. If you can't, just leave a like and a comment. That always helps. And check out my merch in the merch store where you can pick up some really cool t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, caps, all that sort of thing, which are always at really good prices and help support the channel at the same time. I'll be back very soon for the next video. I'll catch you guys soon.